Welcome everybody to my Summer Abroad series. In today's review, or today's first stop, we're going to be stopping in England with the film An American Werewolf in London. So if you don't know what An American Werewolf in London is about, it's about two American college students who are on a walking tour of Britain who are then attacked by a werewolf that none of the locals will admit exists. I had one negative thing about the film, and that's just that the werewolf at the end of the film, like in the final sequence, looked fake. If I were in charge of it, I would have done it a little bit differently and shot it in such a way like how it was in the beginning of the film, where I think they used like the same animatronic or whatever it was, and they shot it uniquely that it hid all that and it made it look more realistic. Like the first werewolf attack, it looks realistic. It's perfectly and realistically shot, so that was a plus. If they had have shot the final sequence in Piccadilly Square, I believe, I think it would have made a 10 for me. Let's get into some of the other positives, because I already talked about one, which was the first wolf attack. The opening credits montage beautifully showcases the English countryside. I guess you could say like the perfect start to the film, because you might go into the film thinking, oh, maybe you put on the wrong movie or something, and I like it when movies do that. If you remember the last series, I did a film called The Cabin in the Woods. They kind of did that, and they purposely did it that way for that reason. And in that one, they set it up like an office comedy type thing to, I guess, throw the audience off, and it just worked so great for that film, and it worked great for this one because you don't expect like the brutality of the horror that's about to happen in the movie. The framing is great throughout the film. It's well written. The initial long shots are great. Now, I can't pick any off the top of my head. I like it when movies do those long shots or drawn out shots to achieve certain emotions within the audience. I think one of them in here, it might have been them walking in the English countryside, and it was like a stationary camera and you just see them walking off in the distance, but you still hear them. Those shots are really good. It was well shot overall. The dark comedy within the film is great. It's well written and delivered perfectly by the actors, I feel. In rewatching this film, I noticed that there was a lot of pop culture type references in the dialogue and in some of the shots, namely the Laurel and Hardy comic book. This was back when pop culture wasn't technically a thing at the time, so it was cool to see these types of references in the film. Jack, the friend of the main character, spoiler alert, the dead guy, his prosthetics throughout the film, they get more and more degraded, and he looks more and more dead and rotted. And I think it's a really cool like transformation thing that they had both the main characters go through. Like with the main character, he goes through the transformation of turning into the werewolf, which was brilliantly shot, perfectly executed, and it was well thought out. I've seen some behind the scenes stuff on it, and I think in terms of other scenes that would rival that transformation scene, like in the amount of planning that went into it, execution, it would be the shower scene, the infamous shower scene from Psycho, and when I think it's Sally Hardesty enters into the Sawyer residence and she trips and falls into the, I guess you could say, the living room of the house in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like the amount of shots, individual camera setups, really well thought out, planned out. It was overall well lit and well paced, edited, all that. the editing is what makes those scenes stand out, because there's like so many shots. If people don't remember the scenes from the movie, they remember those specific shots because of how they were cut together. And it probably started with Psycho. Like, these kinds of scenes, I can't think of any other film that has a specific scene where it stands out and everybody knows that scene, that's executed like and edited similarly. Overall, the creature effects are great, and if I had to give this film an overall rating, I'd give it a 9.99. Like I said at the beginning, I would have given it a 10 had they more creatively shot the werewolf attack in Piccadilly Square. In the comments, let me know if there's any other films that have scenes like the transformation sequence, whether they're transformation scenes or they just have a lot of shots edited together, a lot of camera setups. I would love to check out other films like that. Stay tuned, because the next stop on this, I guess you could say, European Asia tour or Asian tour for the Summer Abroad series is going to be in Paris with the film As Above, So Below, which had a lot more depth to it than I remember, and that's not because of where it takes place. I'll see you in that one, and thanks for watching.